Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Global League Season 9 Minions Round 2. In the upper left-hand corner, playing as Russia, we have Iceinithol. And in the lower right-hand corner, playing as France, we have Goremented. Let's go to the production tab. Iceinithol, about a full 2 seconds ahead in the production of his barracks. He was actually first to deploy his MCV, Goremented taking about 2 seconds at the beginning of the game. Iceinithol cranking out riflemen, and Goremented also cranking out riflemen, but keeping them close to his base. Iceinithol with rifles only on the field, and an engineer in the production tab. Iceinithol about a full 2 seconds ahead. Both players relatively even in actions per minute, 11 to 17. Goremented's catching up quick. And Goremented is going to go War Factory first, skipping the traditional second refinery and committing to a War Factory early on. That's going to let him get some armor on the field a lot faster and may, in fact, render null and void Iceinithol's early troop presence. Iceinithol with the first oil derrick capture of the game. And Goremented microing his harvester. Very good. You can see he has more income. The only way you can get more income in the early game is by microing that harvester. He's going to fall behind for just a second. Iceinithol scoping out the map, and Goremented about to come out with a ranger. Will he be able to snipe out the engineer in time? He sees it and snipes him just in the nick of time. Iceinithol using the technicians from a cell order to scope out the map, or rather Goremented doing that. And Goremented is going to start to eco up. Oh, he sold off his barracks. That's what he did. That's something that I've seen a few players do in this tournament, and it's actually grown on me. Because what it does is it gives you a couple of technicians. It also gives you a money boost. And it helps prevent cash stalling. So that's really important throughout the entire game. Goremented coming out with a light tank. We'll see how he uses that. Goremented blocking the exit of the War Factory, and Iceinithol with an empty build queue for just a moment. Responds to the block effectively. Goremented already out with a service depot. 3 minutes and 42 seconds. And 40 seconds for his MCV. We got a 420 build here. And a modest infantry contingent from Iceinithol. Goremented answering in kind with riflemen. Riflemen so effective against rocket troopers. And 1/3 the cost. And we'll see if he taxicabs the engineer. That's a mine layer out from Goremented. Moving in to mine the something or other. But I don't know how far he's going to get, folks. Being chased off by those rocket soldiers. Deploying one mine. That's not going to be enough. Severely damages a harvester. And Goremented's first expansion MCV moving north. He's going to drop a refinery on that spot. Iceinithol going radar tech at 4 minutes and 57 seconds. And I don't agree with the use of that APC there. He got some good crushes, and he could have just kept on going. Possibly even chased down that mine layer. Goremented, just a bit of a flub there with the placement, the rally point of his war factory. And now a much larger infantry contingent from Iceinithol. Still not being super aggressive with it. And that mine layer survives and is mining the center of the field. Iceinithol moving in on the eco of Goremented. Goremented not pulling his harvesters. And Iceinithol is able to knock out 2 of them very quickly. Finds a static position, but he's concentrating on those mine layers, or he's concentrating on those harvesters. Reinforcements inbound. A good play from Iceinithol, bringing Goremented down to 4 harvesters to Iceinithol's 6, each player on 1 oil derrick now. And Iceinithol forgets about his infantry and loses several of them to the pillbox. Heavy tanks coming out from Iceinithol, but no infantry to back them up. Wow. Almost completely missed that. The first expansion MCV of Iceinithol being heavily damaged by mines, and also being attacked by that light tank. Iceinithol trying to find an angle on that pillbox that will allow him to take that out and also fire upon the harvester that is heavily damaged at this point. Trying to retreat, and he's going to clip right through that minefield. He's going to lose both those tanks. There goes one, and there goes the other. It looked like he had the pathing figured out, but he just didn't go north far enough. Some very good use of the mine layer from Goremented. He's still on 4 harvesters to Iceinithol's 7. Income doesn't really reflect that, though. Iceinithol, with rather poor placement of his ore refinery, and also not eco-transferring whatsoever yet. So there goes 1, there goes 2. But that expansion's been out for quite some time. Iceinithol with an aircraft out on the field pre-8 minute. And he's going to come out with a V2 rocket launcher, 2 V2 rocket launchers, and these tanks might clip that minefield again, barely missing it. And that infantry contingent just barely walking past those mines. Sizable force from Goremented. Looks like he might make a move on the main base of Iceinithol. And that mine layer is being put to good use. Really going for it. Goremented on his 2nd expansion. Not enough harvesters to slide. Goremented moving in on the 1st expansion of Iceinithol. Takes the expansion, forces a sell order, and Ice has got to move this MCV now. Doesn't do it, he's going to lose that MCV. Loses his expansion MCV along with build radius. And tries to roll in with the tanks, but there are just too many rocket troopers there. Pulls one of the tanks out. And Ice is able to mop up, but Goremented now on his 3rd expansion, mining his 3rd expansion ore field rather, and he has almost, well, what happened to those mines? Ice not repairing that tank that's on a sliver of health. Trying to find a flank somehow. And that is a treacherous map now with the mines that have been placed all over. And moving in with 2 V2s on their own. I don't agree with that. Up here comes the rest of the army. Okay. But I don't know what he's planning on doing with that tank, ladies and gentlemen. He is a rifle burst away, gives away the V2s, and moves in with the infantry. Trying to chase down a tank with infantry. Got to be really careful there. Infantry is moving into the pillbox. Could have just hung back and let the V2s do their thing. And that's a lot of rocket troopers in that mix, though. That is a effective anti-base contingent. Goremented losing his expansion MCV. And those may have been fake structures, by the way, that they went down. Loses one of the V2s, pulls the other one back. And a sizable force from Goremented. He knows where the mines are because he put them all there. He's going to be able to maneuver right around them. Iceinithol with aircraft, but not sniping out those rocket troopers. Tanks out of position. Leads with the infantry. V2 finds a decent hit. Loses a harvester there. Goremented now on 7 harvesters to Iceinithol 6. And Goremented is about to go radar tech. Iceinithol could definitely get these MCVs closer to the ore patch, which would give him the ability to lay down a refinery much closer to the center of the ore patch, which is always what you want to do. A flank by Goremented. This could be the good game flank. And Iceinithol going after the barracks with those aircraft, I don't agree with that. He should really just be scouting and watching out for such a maneuver as this. We'll see how Goremented handles this. Iceinithol moving south on Goremented's main, but Goremented with a good game flank moves towards the airfield. And that's a move command, or a focus fire command on that harvester. I don't agree with that, but goes for the MCV. Could have very easily taken out that airfield. Causes low power. Iceinithol sells his main MCV, and he has just got... Goremented has got a massive force, though he is trailing in army value. That's only because of the aircraft of Iceinithol. Iceinithol with plenty of tanks, but completely out of position. And Iceinithol's attack on Goremented's main fails, attacking through the mass of the infantry, not finding a flank on that. Giving chase with his heavy tanks, still on low power. Goremented pulls a tank out on a sliver of health. Iceinithol loses another harvester. Deploys the Tesla coil. That's not going to be nearly enough. That's a lot of rocket troopers in that mix. And that MCV is going down. Again, V2 finds a decent hit. Goremented knows he's ahead, decides to pull back, and here comes that tank battalion from Ice. Good map control, and I don't see Ice coming back from this. Goremented is moving out his second expansion MCV. No, that's his primary MCV. Moving out his primary MCV to the center of the map, and using his Black Hawk helicopter to snipe out the V2 rocket launchers. Ice has no way of dealing with this infantry blob now. There are 2 infantry forces moving in. Ice is really in trouble now. if he wasn't already. He was already, but now especially. He's got plenty of heavy tanks, but that's not an answer for that many rocket troopers. Iceinithol, out of nearly half the army value of Goremented. His remaining army, his tank battalion being closed off on both sides, unable to find a retreat vector. And a beautiful concave from Goremented, trading well. Taking out those tanks, using the smaller force to cut off the retreat. In come more Blackhawks. Ice calling a good game at 1542. 679 to 568. Let's go to the ecograph. Goremented, microing his harvester, giving him an advantage from minute 1 to minute 2. Falls behind slightly to the traditional double ref build, but then quickly gets it back and prevents Ice from taking both oil derricks. Also at some point destroying Ice's oil derrick, mining the field, which cost Ice several tanks early on. Finding a defensible position in this expansion, and Iceinithol just unable to gain a foothold on the map. Really going for gold with the, you can see that tank, that one tank up there on a sliver of health took out all those harvesters too. That's a really good use of a tank that is about to die. Let's just get it out of the way and use it, put it in a place of the map where, you know, your enemy is not going to think to look. Goremented just sticking to the south side and the east side of the map the entire game, choosing his engagements wisely and not going tech too early, not investing in aircraft too much. He's only got 2 Blackhawks at the end of the game. Let's take a look at the Army tab. Both players relatively even until about... well, I mean, this is really interesting because, you know, from the looks of this, Iceinithol he won that engagement. He lost this engagement badly, but then he comes back. All this army value, though, that's not indicative of army strength because, well, he invested heavily in aircraft. He was sniping things that weren't really important. And, yeah, the first game going to Goremented. Let's go on to game number 2.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Global League Season 9 Minions Round 2. In the upper left-hand corner, we have Iceinithol playing as Russia, and in the lower right-hand corner, we have Goremented playing as France. Same teams as last time. Let's go to the production tab. And Goremented just about a half a second ahead in production and build, or rather deployment. Looks like he might even stick to the same strategy as last time, keeping his troops close to the base. And Goremented going out, leading with that engineer. That's a dangerous move. All of these oil derricks, 3 of them on the map. 2 there, 1 right. 1 there, 1 in the middle, 1 over here. You guys know the map. Anyway, they're not too close to either player. They're really in the middle. So leading with an engineer like that is definitely a dangerous move. But he's going for what could be considered his natural derrick. And he's going to be the first one to capture that. Goremented, of course, going same thing as last time, going for a War Factory first build. I want to keep an eye on his cash and see if he's going to sell the barracks again. Iceinithol revved up 28.7 actions per minute to Goremented's 10.6. Iceinithol scoping out the enemy base, finding out that there are soldiers there, and that's about all he knows. Spots that fake power plant, not surprising, and sells the barracks, same as last time. Goremented was just about to stall in cash, sells the barracks, and The NG moving out throughout the map, all alone. And I think that Ranger might find him again, just like last game. He's looking for him, and he found him. Goremented about to stall a cache. But just timing that build with that sell order, I like that a lot. Iceinithol with rocket troopers, he knows what's up. And looks like Ice is going to be the first one with a service depot on the field. Iceinithol coming out with a flak truck. That's a good answer to the Ranger. Doesn't focus fire on the flak truck, or the Ranger. Lets him by. Another engagement. And he follows them to destruction. Very good. Goremented using those technicians to scope out his natural expansion. And Iceinithol being much more aggressive this game with the vehicles. 5 seconds ahead in production of his MCV. And here's a light tank from Goremented. Good answer to the flak truck. Both players on 4 harvesters, Iceinithol with the only Derrick being captured so far. Goremented up to 5 harvesters. Reflected in his income, he's about 1,000 ahead now. Army value goes to Iceinithol. And Iceinithol making good use of that flak truck, killing off the scout and allowing his MCV to move out in relative peace. Iceinithol going radar tech while moving out his MCV. I really disagree with that, honestly, because, you know, he doesn't have any defensive structures queued up. And, yeah, he's got no answer for an attack on his expansion. Iceinithol scopes out the expansion of Goremented. And Goremented's paying attention to his harvesters. Very eco-focused player. That's good to see. And there's a mine layer again from Goremented, mining the expansion field of Iceinithol. Goremented going after Ice's oil derrick, and a heavy tank out from Iceinithol chasing down that light tank. He's not going to catch him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ice lost this harvester right now. There's one. Oh, next one will do it. Next time that harvester goes out. Seven harvesters for Ice, 6 for Goremented. But Goremented is slightly better income. That's very interesting. Maybe he's microing his harvesters still. Or just placing his refineries better, but he's got no answer to Goremented's move on his expansion, except for a lone Tesla coil. That's not going to be enough. And Iceinithol loses one harvester, bringing each player down to 6. Iceinithol not a fan of repairing his tanks. And Ice pulls that other harvester. And And some troops of Goremented, a good split there, looking for that MCV. He knows it's out there. Iceinithol trying to advance with a line of sight disadvantage into a bunch of barracks with rocket troopers and pillboxes. This isn't going to turn out well. He's lost a lot of tanks and a lot of troops. And definitely could have found a better vector for his attack. Goremented with a huge army advantage finds a flank early in the game, 7 minutes and 36 seconds. He's moving on Iceinithol's main base. Iceinithol might be able to hold off this wave. But those tanks are just rolling through, looking for that harvester. And Ice is forced to pull all of his troops off the field. You've got another attack coming in from Goremented. Goremented being much more aggressive this game. It's going to come out with another eco expansion there. Iceinithol out with a barracks expansion, but broke as a joke. And no way to support production. Goremented attacking through the ore fields. Ore fields are notoriously difficult to defend because you don't want to get in the way of your harvesters. Going after that war factory. And the brave little medic being killed. Decent infantry force brewing from Iceinithol. We'll see how he uses that, if he's able to hold on to get it out there. Goremented on 8 harvesters, nearly doubling the income of Iceinithol. Goremented at 69.7 actions per minute to Ice's 47. And that was a fake structure. That's also fake. That's also fake. That's also fake. Goremented able to direct Iceinithol's forces just where he wants them by placing down those fake targets that look so juicy. Using the French team very well. And attacking Iceinithol's service depot. Idle harvester. And pulls it just in time. Goremented still with a big army value advantage. And a decent attack on main. I don't know if he got anything from that, but those tanks are really finding a lot of crushes there. Focusing down the rocket troopers, trying to find crushes on the rocket troops. And finds them. Wipes them all out. Iceinithol still concentrating on those fake structures that go down so easily. But that is a real construction yard. And Ice calls it good game at 10:50. Hasn't surrendered yet, but he has said in chat that it's a good game. I guess Ice is just going to sit and watch his base burn to the ground. That's both games going to Goremented. Even though it's not over, let's go ahead and take a look at the eco graph. Ice with a good advantage until minute 3. Goremented ecoing up because of the War Factory first build. The big income spike around minute 8 when he gets all his expansions on the field and he's got all of his miners mining. I think he was up to 8 or 9 at some point. Let's go to the army tab. Game's still progressing a bit, but you can see Goremented gets ahead and stays ahead. A lot of, and like Iceinithol said, he just committed too early. He, you know, Goremented's got this forward base. He's got good rally points. He's keeping his army together, using the tanks, the troops, the rocket troops, keeping them all healed up. And, yeah, both games going to Goremented. Red Alert Global League, Minions Round 2, Season 9.
Battle control terminated.